Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I thought about it, long and hard, the pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything. And at the end of the day, you've got to make up your own damn mind. I have conviction. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
All right, legends, welcome to another live stream. Let me do this. There we go. It is Friday. We all getting ready for the weekend. Maybe you've got some awesome plans, or you are going to trade like a crazy maniac because altcoin season is here and we need to make the best of it because it could potentially only last for another couple of days and maybe it's over, right? Who knows, legends? I always say it's good to take a break over weekends because that's usually where we get, okay, from a data perspective, 79% of the time, Bitcoin forms a small little range inside of weekend price action. So it's always a really good idea to take a break from the charts on a weekend, reset your brain, and then you tackle it again on a Monday. Okay, remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. Yes, as per the thumbnail, and you might be saying, Dewald, hey, isn't that a little bit bearish? Okay, I've got the bull with a little surprised face, okay, and it's all just based on one chart. Okay, where we could maybe expect a little bit of a pullback. But guys, a pullback is not a bad thing. For those of you that's missed your entries, for those of you that were too scared to buy, you want a goddamn pullback so that you can get in. Okay, you want a pullback at the end of the day. As long as things just keeps on rampaging to the upside and you do not have any positions, you're going to be left behind, right? So a pullback on a thumbnail should be a really good thing for you if you did not get your entries. I hope, guys, I really hope you all got in, okay? I have done, and I know most of you on the live stream, Yeah, the sound is coming through. Most of you on the live stream have been following me for a while. You are the die-hard fans. And in all honesty, I can tell you guys now, we are getting really excited about this potential altcoin season that is maybe kickstarting over here. The signs are there. It does look very positive. And I can tell you now that retail is still not here. I've got 90 people on the live stream. Do you think retail is here? Do you think you are early? Yes, you are still early. Okay, we can also go and run through a couple of altcoins and see, well, is there still potential? Can you still get an entry? Specifically from a spot perspective, because most of the really good quality altcoins that I've been watching, they already rocketed to the upside. So, you know, if you have a FOMO strategy and you're comfortable with being underwater, maybe, you know, there is still some buying opportunities. But first, you know, let's do a little bit of technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. I'm going to keep it short here on Bitcoin because, you know, now the sentiment is changing. Bitcoin who? Who? Bitcoin who? No, man, we just want to look at our favorite alts, right? The sentiment is shifting because when everything takes a dump to the downside, no one wants to talk about altcoins, right? No one wants to talk about altcoins. Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. As soon as I open up the altcoin chart, the people leave the live stream. Now, when I talk about Bitcoin, people are like, fuck Bitcoin, let's talk about altcoins. It's crazy how the sentiment changes, guys. It's just absolutely crazy, right? So remember to smash up that like button and let's get the party on the road. And let me say hi to the community while we are still a little bit of people here in the live stream. Let me say hi to the community. Elizabeth, welcome. Friday, what's next? Buy the dip. Well, I hope we get a dip, right? Especially for those that did not get in. I can tell you guys now, there's no more buying for me. I am not buying anything at the moment because if you remember a month ago when I did these live streams, these altcoins were at beautiful buying opportunities. Okay, a month ago or 2 months ago, when was this? This was in April. Okay, this is a couple of months ago, guys. In April, okay? In March, when I did these live streams, for example, on ETH, when I did these live streams, I told everyone I'm buying. Okay, this is not a place to buy, guys. Unless you have a FOMO strategy, right? Anyways, you need to decide. I can't make financial decisions for you guys, right? So I know that there will be new people joining this live stream in the next coming weeks and months that's going to get upset with me and not want to be part of my community because I'm going to tell everyone I already bought. Okay? Right? That's my entry, guys. I already bought. How can I tell someone... Ooh, let me take this FIP out. This FIP is crashed. Okay, how? Guys, as a responsible trader, I just need to pose this question, especially for the new people that's going to join in the future. How can I tell someone to buy over here, knowing that we bought over here? It's just... Unless we get a pullback, you take your FIB from the low to the high, you bounce here inside of the consolidation area, then I will say, guys, there is a buying opportunity. We have a nice little pullback, we're hitting consolidation areas. This is where you want to load up, but I cannot for the love of me tell people buy. Okay, I can't, right? Things have pumped aggressively here to the upside. And these were, you know, guys, this blue list here above my head. These were the coins that I bought. Fetch, right? I actually bought a little bit more Fetch on Monday, but I stopped buying. Okay, Link. Ooh, for some reason. Okay, you guys can see my entry is far down here below when you were supposed to buy. Okay, so if you're going to ask me in the live stream, what can I buy? We're going to have to go and scratch for some altcoins that have not done this as yet. Okay, so I'm going to run a little bit later during the live stream. I'm going to run through as many altcoins as I possibly can. And maybe we will find one that is still here. Maybe we get lucky and we find one that's still here that hasn't done this. Okay, because I cannot for the love of me tell anyone to buy here. even if it goes higher, it's just from a risk management perspective, I cannot recommend that to anyone. Right, so let's get into the technical analysis here on Bitcoin. And maybe, okay, before I start the technical analysis, let me tell you why I think we could potentially get a little bit of a pullback. And it might not even be a big pullback. It could just be a little bit of a consolidation that's going to go sideways. Okay. Hopefully we get a little bit of a deeper pullback so we can load back up, add maybe compound. But it's all got to do with Bitcoin dominance, guys. It's all got to do with Bitcoin dominance. So the one disclaimer I want to put out there: any good technical analyst will tell you that an indicator chart, okay, that shows percentages is not tradable. It's like your total 3, your total 2, Bitcoin dominance, USDT dominance. They do not respect technical analysis as well as a chart that actually has money going through it. Real money, people trading the chart. Okay, so we have to always take these little technical levels with a little bit of a pinch of salt, especially when you look at volume. Like, what on earth has volume got to do with a chart that doesn't have money going through it? It doesn't make any sense, right? You have to just logically apply yourself to say that this, ladies and gentlemen, is an indicator. Okay, it is not a tradable chart, but we're trying our best to analyze it and roughly get an idea of what the next potential move can be. Okay, so that's the disclaimer I just want to put out there, especially when it comes to indicator charts. Bitcoin dominance is an indicator chart. Okay, it shows you that money is flowing out of Bitcoin into the altcoins. That's all it does. That's its purpose, right? How much love is inside of Bitcoin versus how much love is inside of the altcoin season. And as long as Bitcoin dominance is going up, we all know what happens to the alts. They get absolutely beaten to the ground. Okay, dominance falls down. Now we have an altcoin party at the moment, right? So from a technical perspective, as best as I possibly can, looking at the daily chart over here, I took a fib from the low to the high. And now you can see this little support, okay, box that I drew over here aligns with the 0.382 Fibonacci level. And this is where Bitcoin dominance is currently at. So from a technical perspective, if this had to be a price chart, I would say, guys, maybe we're going to get a bounce in this zone. And what happens when Bitcoin dominance bounces to the upside? Altcoins pull back, money flows back into Bitcoin. Okay, and this is why I put on the thumbnail, dominance is hitting support. Very good support, by the way. You have consolidation areas that can provide that support. It's at a Fibonacci level that makes sense. So it would be strange for dominance just to fall. It would be very strange, okay, because nothing moves in a straight line. Everything moves in waves. Okay, so yes, the altcoin season or party can still continue, but there's going to be pullbacks along the way because it could bounce and then continue the fall. You make a lower high and then the momentum starts continuing to the downside, but you get bounces along the way. And these little bounces for Bitcoin dominance to the upside provides buying opportunities for your favorite altcoins. Okay, hope that makes sense. Right. Hi, Dewald and Legends. Jack, welcome in the house. The mods supporting the channel over here. Stefan1, welcome. Welcome. Irina, always great to see you here. HP Bar. Hey, bro, welcome. Yeah, on a Friday live stream. Usually Fridays are very quiet for some reason. I get way less people joining the live stream. I see even on Andy's live streams on Fridays are usually casual. I don't know if people are not working or working too hard on Fridays, getting ready for the weekend. Okay, screw altcoins, Dewald. I'm happy both ETC, LTC, Sonic, FET starts to move. Absolute Fantastic to see that, Elizabeth. ETC is Ethereum Cash, no? Yeah, Ethereum Cash. I mean, I haven't looked at Ethereum Cash in ages. Okay, it's not a project that I'm involved in or invested in, but we can go and look at the chart if we have a moment. But Litecoin, oh, Elizabeth, now you're singing my tune. Litecoin. Right, hi Dewald. On ICP we have a confirmed leading wave. I have counted it and sent it in the basic chat. Ooh, I love it, guys. Oh, I'm not sure if there are anyone here that followed Koens yesterday during his live stream. He did a very good idea, okay? He came up with a very, very, very good idea where he basically used his Discord, okay? Like you said, you just posted something here in the basic chat, right? And he said, people go and share your charts inside of the free Discord, and I will go and analyze and see if it makes sense from my perspective as well. So, guys, if you want to share a picture with me, okay, go and sign up to our Discord and go and post it here in the basic chat, like you've Patron has just done over here, okay? And then we can all look at it together, because often you are limited by the words that you can write here on YouTube. But you can go and join our Discord. So let me open this up. Right, go into the description of this YouTube video and you will see that there's the link. Go sign up and join the free Discord. You don't have to pay anything. You just have to sign up. Okay. And if you want to show me your technical analysis, Dewald, do you agree with this? Don't you agree with this? Then go and post it in here and then we can look at it together. Right. So Koens, I mean, that was a brilliant idea that he came up with yesterday. I also shared a chart in there. Floki, by the way. Okay. Right. Cool. Legends. Now, let's get back into the technical analysis. So just to get this out of the way, Bitcoin dominance is hitting support, and you could get a little bit of a bounce, which could give us a little bit of a pullback in some of our favorite altcoins. Nothing just goes up in a straight line. Everything moves in waves. Okay. But as long as the trend is to the upside, you can play those little pullbacks and load up in those little pullbacks and play the breakouts to the upside. Okay, so it's beautiful to have these little pullbacks on Bitcoin dominance. It should not be something that you're scared of. Oh crap, Bitcoin dominance is hitting support, exit all of your positions. If you have really good entries like myself on some of my favorite altcoins, no, okay, this is potentially an opportunity for me to add to those positions. Okay, this is my strategy. As long as it's pumping here to the upside, as long as my token that I got an entry over here in the buy zone, by the way, as long as I have an entry over here and I see a straight line to the upside, there's no ways that I'm adding to the position. I want price to slow down and give me a little bit of a pullback, and then hopefully there's a nice little trend forming over there, and once it breaks out, this is where I add to my position and it will drag my entry ever so slightly back up. So now I'm making more money with the rest of the momentum here to the upside. That is my plan, but for now, for me, it does not make sense to add any money to my entries. What I have done is I've increased my leverage on these positions to make more money available so that I can add back to these positions. That is something that you can do as a smart trader, I suppose. Okay, so if for me, I want to make more money available so that I can add into these positions and also trade a couple of breakouts on some of my favorite altcoins. Because if you zoom in here onto the smaller time frames, there's a couple of breakouts, guys. If you go here on Link on the 15-minute time frame, okay, I mean, there's a lot of trading opportunities. It looks like a straight line on the daily time frame, but guys, look at this breakout. Okay, there we go, breakout. Okay, a breakout, and the breakout just continues to the upside. So you wait for consolidation, like what happened here. Okay, just some tips, guys. You wait for consolidation. Okay, maybe it forms that beautiful trend, and what do? You play the breakout, and this is why I'm making some money available, because, you know, I can trade these the strength. I can trade the strength to the upside. Okay, guys, I mean, it feels like I'm not getting to the point. Let's start with the technical analysis. So well said. That is exactly why you do not go in all 100% at once, incrementally waiting for those dips. Just, yes, baby genius, that's exactly how I like to trade. Okay, I don't just go all in. I still have a large portion of dry powder, guys. I still have a lot of dry powder. Okay, and but for me, it's not time to deploy just as yet. It's not time to deploy. Okay. Well, based on my strategy, it's not time to deploy just as yet. But you can see if you find an altcoin that's showing strength, it's breaking major trend lines on the daily time frame, and it has strength to the upside. You can trade, you can day trade these little things, okay? And it's quite significant moves, right? These are 4, 5%, 10% moves to the upside. You can make significant cash. So there's always opportunities. Always, always, always. Right. So now let's start with the technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. Okay. Just want to see something over here. Do we have a bot attack? Because I see someone just posted a link. Okay, but I think you guys deleted it. The mods are doing exactly what they need to do. Okay, yeah, that's a safe position. Right, let's go, legends. So what I want to focus on now, I know I have gone through all the scenarios of what we're looking here, but maybe let's just do a quick little recap. Okay, so let's do the conservative scenario. Let's just focus here on the conservative scenario. This scenario, ladies and gentlemen, is still intact. Let me quickly take you through the scenario. This is my conservative bullish case scenario. There are more bullish case scenarios, but let's just keep it real. Okay, let's just let's just keep it real and our heads flat on the ground. So this scenario, when I spoke about it last time, is actually starting to play out beautifully. So there is still a chance, okay, for Bitcoin to come down here to the 50% Fibonacci at $114,000. This is a valid fourth wave target here by the 50% Fibonacci. Very, very valid. The invalidation for this little leg to the upside is at $112,000. You don't want price to come and tap the invalidation over here. Then we have to reassess the structure, and maybe it is a corrective structure here to the upside. It's not going to be good for continuation, especially in some of our favorite altcoins if Bitcoin comes to $112,000 right now. Once Bitcoin, okay, so guys, what is the best way to explain it? Is that once price has made the fourth wave, okay, and it goes back up to complete the fifth wave, then it can come back and hit the invalidation, and it's still bullish. Okay, it would be very strange for price to just correct from here because you have an incomplete 5-wave structure. And if price had to fall down here and tap the invalidation, you know what's the danger is that you have a 3-wave structure. And if you have a 3-wave structure to the upside, okay, it means that Bitcoin can come and take the low again. And then, you know, party is over. The altcoin season party is over for now. Right, maybe it's going to start later. We don't know. So once you have formed a 5-wave structure to the upside, then it's beautiful. Okay, because now you have an impulsive wave to the upside. And then this wave needs to correct itself. This wave needs to correct itself. So you will then take a fib from this low. Oops, not this one. Let me click on the fib. From this low, take the brushes out. Once we have the 5 waves to the upside, you then want to see a 3-wave corrective structure. In the invalidation, I will then remove. Once we have a 5th wave, I will remove the invalidation, and the invalidation then moves to the low. Okay, but I want to see a 5-wave structure first. At the moment, this is a 3-wave structure. Okay, so we need another leg, at least one more leg to the upside. We need to come and claim this high once again. For now, this structure is still intact. It has not been invalidated, so there's no reason for concern. Once we tap the invalidation, I'm going to say, oh shit, guys, something doesn't look good over here. Let's reassess the situation. Right, so based on this scenario, you will then form a larger, okay, let me just zoom in over here, drag this ever so slightly to the side. Once we have a fifth wave, this will obviously extend to the upside, depending on where the top is going to top out over here. Then the 382, 50%, 618, 786 maximum target. You don't really want to tap the 0.88 because once you have a 5-wave structure to the upside, you could then only have a deeper correction to the downside that is still bullish because you have a 5-wave structure. Okay, you have 5 waves up, you have 3 waves down, you have continuation to the upside. It's as simple as that. Okay. Right, hope that makes sense. Excuse me. Let's just put this fib back to number 2. So guys, I'm just keeping it conservative over here. Put this back at the 618. So this structure is still intact. Okay, this is what I want to highlight. Also, something that I highlighted is if I look at this structure, the conservative bullish structure, guys, because there's a more bullish case structure where we just continue. Okay, we make another 4-5 here to the upside. I just want to be conservative, right? So based on this structure, it's not time for the correction to be done. Okay, I have spoken about this. This low was made before the minimum target, and this is why I kept on saying I think the corrective structure is going to continue. Okay. Right, I need to put this back as well. Okay, I was just like, why is the invalidation so high? There we go. Right, that makes sense. So legends, for now the structure is still intact. Okay, for now, based on the price action that we have today, the probabilities are still higher to claim this high before we hit the invalidation. Okay, until we hit the invalidation, then probabilities will shift. And this is why I have invalidations on the charts, because these invalidations tells me which structure is going to start taking priority. Okay, right, so legends, I'm just going to talk about this structure. I'm not going to go into the most bullish case scenario. Let's just keep it conservative. But in this scenario, you have basically formed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of your third wave. Okay, and we're still looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go and complete the fifth wave here to the upside. Once we've made this high over here, $130,000, 120, you know, round about that zone, then we can say, well, you know, if price starts falling aggressive here to the downside, that could be an epic load up zone for all of the altcoins that we've missed out on. This little correction could be an epic load up zone, but we could still get continuation here to the upside. For now. Okay, right, now what I want to do is legends based. Now I want to focus on what is happening over here. Okay, this is now the interesting part, because I have shared with everyone it's not time. Okay, and I said this in my last live stream 2 days ago, because I didn't do a live stream yesterday. It's not time for the correction to be over. Okay, so what could happen over here? Okay, what are the highest probabilities and the scenarios that we can look at inside of this little local structure? Because this is now where it gets interesting. Okay, so now let's take this out the way and go on to the 15-minute time frame. And now let's look at what is cooking over here, this little structure. Okay, so I like to focus on the larger time frame. Okay, look at the entire structure and see, well, okay, based on the entire structure, now I know where I am. I know where the invalidation is. This potentially still looks very corrective. And what can we now, based on this price action over here, what is now going to happen? Okay, just to put it simply. Right. Okay, Dewald, any thoughts about the overall overbought conditions in RSIs? Yes, RSIs are overbought. So, you know, but remember, RSIs can stay on, you know, to the overbought condition for a little bit longer. It doesn't have to come down immediately as soon as it's overbought. It can still hover there for a couple of days, maybe even a week before it starts correcting to the downside. But maybe based on the, Elizabeth, you ask a very important question. Maybe based on the RSIs that are overbought, Okay, I still expect one more stretch here to the upside, and then the RSIs can go and reset themselves when we have the deeper correction to the downside, which is still going to turn out to be bullish for continuation. So this is basically where your RSIs are going to reset themselves, but I want to see one more high. I need to see one more high so that we can have a 5-wave structure to the upside. Okay. Right, so let's get back into this price action over here, and I have a couple of scenarios prepared, guys. So the most obvious and the most simplest scenario is an ABC. Okay, just looking at this as an ABC, and I know you guys like to see the lines, so let's put in the lines. Right, let's just say we're going to have a normal ABC correction over here. Okay, this little structure, when price forms a low, for me as a technical analyst, it's always important to see that, well, is this impulsive to the upside or is it corrective to the upside? And I can tell you guys now, I'm really struggling to count an impulsive structure inside of here. And also, I'm really struggling to count an impulsive structure over here unless it's a expanding structure, never preferred unless all other scenarios fail. Okay, so struggling to count an impulse over here, and then we have an expanding structure, which is extremely rare, never preferred unless all scenarios fail. So to have a blast off from here, for me, doesn't make sense at the moment. This is corrective. If you're struggling to count impulsive structures inside of a structure, then you're most likely still correcting. It's part of corrective structures. They are complex, difficult to count, because impulsive structures are the easiest structures to count. And if you cannot count impulsive structures, then maybe it's corrective. Just keep it simple. Okay, and it makes sense to have a B wave then over here because it's a complex 3-wave corrective structure. That makes more sense. Okay, and now we're expecting a little C wave here to the downside that could come and claim the A over here. Right, now I have targets, guys. I have targets. You take a trend-based fib from the high to the low to the high. Okay. And these are your targets to the downside if the C wave is going to continue. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. For a C wave, it would be rare to tap the 0.618. Most commonly, 786 1-to-1 extension. You can also see this 1-to-1 extension has beautiful confluence with this little consolidation area over here. So definitely something to keep in mind. The C wave can go to the 1.236. It can go to the 618 over here, but this is where things are going to get dangerous. You want the C wave to find support. Where's that invalidation? Okay, before it hits the 1.236. It should not hit the 1.236 because that's your invalidation for that bullish structure that I've showed you on the larger time frame. Here is your invalidation, guys. So let me switch off that scenario. Okay, so for a C wave to the downside, you want it to bounce at the 786 and the 1-to-1 extension. It should not come to these targets. No, Ben, it should not, right? You don't want these targets to be hit because then you're going to invalidate the bullish structure to the upside. So, if price dips aggressively here to the downside, well, you know where I'm going to pay attention. Swing failure from the low. If price dips below the low, okay, and it gets acceptance back above, long. Stop loss goes below the low, and you play that wave to the upside that's potentially going to claim that high, that last little 5th wave. Okay, same thing with a 1-to-1 extension. And I must say, I do like the 1-to-1 extension with this little consolidation area because there's a lot of technical traders that will say it won't hold, it's too small. But the 1-to-1 extension is a very, very common C wave target. Okay, so this is one scenario that I'm currently watching. Let's take all the noise here out of the chart. Switch this off. And now, okay, simple, right? Maybe not. Okay, doesn't it? I wish it was simple, guys. I wish it was simple, because there's a couple of other scenarios that could also play out over here. Remember, it's a corrective structure, and corrective structures can be very, very complex. You don't know what you're going to get. You just have to play the levels, and based on how price develops in the next couple of days, I will know which scenario is starting to carry higher probability, and I will start eliminating some of the other scenarios. Okay, you could also have a triangle where you have formed a W to the downside, okay, in a complex corrective structure to the downside. You basically have a W, you have a three-wave structure in X, and you form an A, B, C, D, E, and then we continue to the upside. And you do not take the lows, okay? It must be said that triangle corrective structures are rare. Okay, it's not the rarest structure, but a flat structure and an ABC, like I've just shown you, always carries higher probability than a triangle. But it makes it very simple for me. Let me tell you why it makes it simple for me. Because if price continues to range, and it does not want to take the low, and it does not want to take the high, it just goes sideways without taking the high and without taking the low, then the scenario will increase in probability. So for now, it's too soon. It's too early for me to give this scenario the highest probability. The clue is you should not take the high and you should not take the low. That's the clue. Okay, so if price dances around here over the weekend, over Sunday, maybe even Monday, okay, basically the whole weekend, if price does ranges without taking the high and the low over the weekend, okay, we are most likely building a triangle, and you could expect that pop to the upside, because this will then be the end of the corrective structure where you form your Y wave. Okay, right, so a scenario that I'm keeping in mind, but it's not the highest probable scenario at the moment. But it's something just to keep in the back of your mind. Okay. Then there is the flat in the Y, which is more common. Okay, this is basically the structure. Okay. I do like this one because it almost has the same structure as the ABC. The only difference is we're going to take the high, okay? And a flat in a Y wave, you might be asking yourself, Dewald, what do you mean by a flat in a Y wave? It basically means you have completed the W, you have completed a three-wave structure in X, and now you could form a flat where B takes the high and C takes the low. So you get out of the structure. Okay, then it's not a triangle anymore. This structure plays out more often than the triangle, so it has a higher probability. Okay, so if price for some reason, maybe it still comes down here a little bit, maybe it swing failures these lows, so there's a potential long trade. Okay, price dips below, it gets acceptance back above, it swing failures the lows over there. There's a long trade that I'm interested in. And then what happens? You get a B wave that takes the high. Okay, and then it gets acceptance back below the lows, shorting opportunity. Okay, and then the 618 becomes relevant, guys, because Y does love the 618, the 786, the 1-to-1 extension. So basically the same levels that the C wave loves to the downside. So you guys can see it's complex corrective structures, but the end goal is I'm looking for a long to go and play that fifth wave to the upside. Inside of the structure, there can like to be shorting and longing opportunities. Long, short. So if I see price pump up here, and everyone's like, Dewald was wrong, we're not getting the ABC to the downside. Well, at least you know I have highlighted this little scenario over here, okay? Where price takes the high, it starts trading below, that's where your stop loss go, that's where you short, because and this is the minimum level that I will, well, this is TP1, guys. This is where you want to take profits at the 0.618. because then you form a flat, ABC flat, okay, where B takes the high, C takes the low of A. Okay, that's a flat in a Y. Right, so this is one structure that I'm currently looking at. And then, is there anything else? Am I missing anything? Let's go here onto Discord and just see. I see you guys. Let's go here onto my Bitcoin analysis. Okay, there's the flat scenario that I shared this morning with the Legends Pro community. There's the triangle that I shared. And also normal ABC or WXY, doesn't matter. Okay, so guys, it doesn't matter whether this is, okay, let me put that ABC back in here. Right, it doesn't matter, because some people are going to say, Dewald, it's not an ABC, it's a WXY. I don't give a shit. Sorry for my French. Okay, it can be a WXY, it can be an ABC. I'm looking at the same levels. These are the levels that I'm interested in. Whether it's an ABC or whether it's a WXY, I don't care. It's a three-wave corrective structure. It has the same targets. Okay, a C wave can go further down, but like I said, you don't want the C wave to tap the 1.618 because we're going to invalidate the bullish structure. Right, but it's the same structure, guys. You want price to find support. Very important. Price needs to find support in this zone. If it does, starts collapsing to the downside. It has to find support here. Otherwise, the markets, our altcoins, are going to be in trouble. Okay. And remember, legends, now that I've provided you with the value, the alpha, the corrective structures, if you would like to come and take those trading opportunities with me, the shorting, the longing, okay, looking to play that fifth wave to the upside, I've got Bluffin, 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account, right? Extra to trade with. I've got BTCC, guys, and I still got my, here's my BTCC, still, some good entries, guys. You can see I've got some really good entries. What is this Doge? Oh, I saw Doge had the pop finally to the upside. Finally, we get the pop here on Doge. But you guys can see these are the swing positions that I have open. ICP, Doge, but basically the point that I'm trying to make over here is that I have my swing positions open on BTCC and on Bluffin. Okay, so these swing positions I'm going to keep open for some time still, and I will wait for a larger retracement before I start adding into these positions, because the worst thing that you can do as a technical trader is to add so much into a position because you're just FOMOing in, that your entry becomes too high, and then when the eventual pullback happens, you back underwater or you get stopped out of your position. Okay, so guys, I'm trading with patience. I will only add to these positions once we get a larger pullback and there's a breakout and I see a sign of strength, then I will add to the position. It's not time for me to add yet. Okay, so there's BTCC and Bluffin that I've just highlighted, where I've got the swing trades open. Week's absolutely fantastic as well, especially if you want to scalp, bring down your fees, 20% cash back, 25% discount on your trading fees, and you get upgraded to VIP status 1. Right, I also have Femix, and I believe they still have that $150 for free when you sign up. And then obviously this is where you join our Legends Pro community. Okay, right, legends, these are basically the scenarios. This is what I see here on the price of Bitcoin. I think I have basically covered all the scenarios. I do see that there are, I'm not going to mention any names. Sometimes I get a little bit sad when I see that, but I'm not going to mention any names. Maybe you'll know who I'm talking about, but I do see that there are some technical traders that are very well known saying that, no, we're going to get that nice little pullback. This is our load up zone, and then we're going to go off to the races. I'm telling you guys now, there's a problem. There's a problem with a larger pullback right now. If Bitcoin gets a larger pullback right now, there's a problem. Okay, Bitcoin needs to hold. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, because guys, I cannot stress to you how important it is to learn market structure. to learn 5-wave structures. What does a 5-wave structure mean for the market? What does a 3-wave structure mean for the market? If you are a technical trader and you have thousands of people following you and you telling people that I'm expecting a deeper pullback and this is where we are going to load up without knowing the market structure, it frustrates me. Anyways, right. Right, legends. So, like I said, just to summarize it, we need another wave up so that we can form an A, B, C, D. What is it? What am I talking about? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once we have another high, I don't care how high this high goes. Once we have another high, then we have a 5-wave structure. Then we can have a deeper pullback without taking the low. Yes, then I agree with that person that that is going to be an interesting load-up zone. But it's not time yet, based on the structure that I see in front of me. Okay. Okay, cool. Legends, remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. This is basically the technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin, and maybe now what we can do is we can run through a couple of alts and see if there are still buying opportunities. Okay. Verified. Dewald, is C to the downside that takes the low around 74k still possible? Yes, unfortunately. But even in that scenario, I still expect the high to be claimed. I'm not going to go into all the details because it's going to take me another half an hour or 20 minutes to explain it. So what I can tell you, you're asking a very good question. Is the C wave to the downside still possible, and can it still take $74,000? Yes. And in that scenario, when you dive into the structures, I still want to see another high. I still want to see another high in that scenario. And then, okay, I mean, once you take this low, it's game over, right? If you form a 5-wave structure here and price falls down and it takes this low, it's game over. That's your invalidation for the bull market. Okay, I can tell you guys now, this is your invalidation for the bull market. $98,000. This is your invalidation. If you tap $98,000, we most probably going to start a larger correction to the downside. Right, but it's Friday, we upbeat. Let's not, depress ourselves with the bearish case scenarios here. The bullish scenario is still intact. Now, if you guys would like to trade these altcoins, links are down in the description. Okay, so let's just stick here to the daily 12-hour time frame and look at some of these altcoins. Okay, I'm going to run through a list and just see, well, do I spot anything that still looks good? And by all means, if you see something that for you looks like it's still in buy zone, please share it here and I can go and have a look at it, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of altcoins. Okay, the ones that I have here on my list, 99% of them have already popped here to the upside. Okay, so Link, no. Litecoin, no. ICP actually still looks good, guys, from a spot perspective. Okay, because you have to consider risk to reward. Okay, so maybe something that I can just leave you guys with is, I know it looks a little bit messy. I don't have folders for all my altcoins to make them look nice and clean like I've got here on Bitcoin. But from a risk to reward perspective, I can tell you guys now, from a structural perspective, ICP looks good. It looks like it has a beautiful one. This is your 3-wave corrective structure in 2. And there's a chance to get this 3rd wave up here up until $33. Okay, so from a risk to reward perspective, even if you buy ICP exactly where it is right now from a spot perspective, okay, and even if you just want to claim the highs and you put your stop loss below the recent low, okay, you're still looking at a 7.62 risk to reward. So the risk to reward, based on where some of the tokens are that still have bullish structures, still tells me it's okay to buy here, because from a risk to reward perspective, it makes sense. Okay. Someone told me that they shared a bullish case count on ICP inside of the basic chat section. I just want to see if I can find it. Because that's a very interesting, because we were all struggling to count a bullish structure in the basic chat. XRP, there we go. I think this managed ICP, here we go. Okay, let me just explain quickly, guys, the problem statement. Yesterday, also, even in Koens's live stream, we were all struggling, okay, to count an impulsive structure from the lows. And this actually scared some people out of their positions. I'm holding on. This, okay, whatever formed here. Remember, guys, the thing as a technical analyst that we are always trying to figure out, especially the Elliotticians, we are always trying to figure out that if this is the low, whatever happens to the upside has to be impulsive. If whatever happens to the upside is not impulsive, you increase the probabilities that you're still going to come take out the low. So if this is not an impulsive structure, it could still go and eat the low again. Okay, and based on this structure, I saw that some people actually exited their ICP positions because it doesn't look impulsive. Okay, but now it's rampaging nicely here to the upside. Right, so this is why I'm very interested to see how other people counted the structure, to see that, well, can they count impulsive structures? And it looks like very interesting, 3-wave structures. 1, 2, expanding structure. Okay, ABC, WXY, yeah, definitely a possibility. You can have a leading structure, okay, with 3-wave structures. Okay, just want to try and figure out more or less how you counted this. I'm not going to go into too much details, but what I can tell you, and I think this is why some people exited the ICP positions, is because a expanding structure is a very rare structure. It is extremely rare, guys. I cannot explain to you how rare it is, but I do see them sometimes in altcoins. I have personally never seen an expanding structure, okay, in an impulse on Bitcoin. I have seen them inside of corrective structures, but to lead a move to either the up or to the downside, I've never seen it in Bitcoin. But I have seen it on Brett. And now, potentially, we have it on ICP as well. But you basically have an expanding structure, okay? And now you're getting the momentum here to the upside. So I like what you've shared over here. So basically, it tells you that there's a chance, okay? There's a chance that this could be an expanding structure, which is extremely rare, but it's playing out on ICP. Which I actually like, because the fact that I've heard that some people got scared out of their ICP positions, you know, it's like, well, I think the market makers achieve exactly what they wanted to, okay? It is extremely bullish. Let's scare the people out of their positions and give them a structure that is extremely rare, but it's valid. Because I can show you guys now here on, if I can find it quickly here. Let's just do this. Okay, Brett had one, guys. Brett had an expanding structure. Let's go to the 8-hour time frame, right? And I can show you guys they do play out. Here is Brett, where it had the expanding structure. I will never forget it, because it's the only time I've ever seen it. Okay, maybe they play out on some other altcoins and I just haven't seen it, but I saw it on Brett. Right, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 expanding structure, which is rare, never preferred unless all other scenarios fail. You have a beautiful correction, you made a higher low, and the rest is history. But it started off with an extremely rare structure. So based on this, there's a very, very slim chance that ICP is starting out the same way. And it kind of makes sense to me, because a lot of people got very bullish very quickly on ICP. And maybe that was the market makers' idea, to scare these people out of their positions, because, you know, you need to get people out, right? You don't want everyone to become millionaires, depending on how large your position size is. but I have seen this before. I have seen the movie before, and maybe that is what ICP is doing at the moment. Right, so ICP, guys, on the daily time frame, regardless of whether it's expanding or contracting, whatever the case might be, if I go to the log scale, because I love to analyze on the log scale because it just gives you clearer limits, and you look at the structure, okay, if you take a fib from the low to the high, okay, look at where ICP found support at the 786. It's a bullish target. You have 5 waves to the upside. You have a 3-wave corrective structure. It found support at a maximum bullish target, and now it looks like it could continue momentum here to the upside to at least come and claim the highs over here. So from a risk to reward perspective, especially from a spot back perspective, I would say it's still a good zone to accumulate. It really still is a good zone to accumulate. Okay, let's look at Doge. I mean, that's the one that popped today. You know, guys, you know, so the easiest thing that I can explain to everyone is, let's just go back here to regular, is that if you think that your altcoin has the potential, your favorite altcoin that you are watching, if you think it has the potential to come and claim the highs before we had the correction, you go and take your long tool, okay, and you snap it onto where price is right now. You take it to the high if you think your altcoin has the potential to do that, and you put your stop loss below the recent low. If the risk to reward for you makes sense, then I would say, well, you need to make that decision from an investment perspective. Okay, you need to make this decision. On Doge, it's a 2.43. On altcoins, I don't like to trade a risk to reward less than 3 to 1. Okay, so for me, it's too late for the party. But I mean, anything, my minimum requirement is a 2 to 1, but for Bitcoin trading. So you need to decide, okay? If you believe your altcoin is going to fly, okay, then obviously the risk to reward becomes better. But this is what I like to look at, is the risk to reward. Does it make sense to go and FOMO into your favorite altcoin right now? If the risk to reward doesn't make it worth it, okay, then don't. I'm not a financial advisor, but I wouldn't, okay, regardless of whether it pumps or not. Because remember, if Bitcoin makes that last little 5th wave to the upside and it gets a deeper correction, these tokens can come back for a retest, and then you are underwater. And if you can hold on and be comfortable with being underwater, you could get the next leg here to the upside. Okay, so, you know, I'm rather going to wait for a deeper retracement. Right, but basically that's something that I wanted to highlight. Doge still makes sort of sense. Okay, risk to reward is not great, but it's not bad. Okay. Rune, I'm not sure if anyone wants to talk about Rune, okay, but it's still bullish. It has gone sideways for very, very long. It is, you know, it has broken trend. I'm not sure if anyone is interested in Rune, because I see a lot of people just don't want to talk about Rune anymore because of the FUD around it. Okay, so XRP, no, XRP, whew, look at the rejection, guys. Look at where XRP got rejected. All I did is I took my trend-based fib from the low to the high of the structure to the low of the structure. Okay, and I was look at the 1-to-1 extension. Beautiful reaction at the 1-to-1. And then it just continued in a straight line, and now it tapped the 1.618. And what is ironic about, you know, this could be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I am expecting a correction, like I've pointed out on BTC dominance. Okay, it is finding support. Maybe it's going to give us that bounce and then continue. So that little correction could be the 4th wave on XRP. 1, 2, 3. BTC dominance corrects. XRP corrects, and you get one more stretch to the upside. But that's not where it ends, guys. Once you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, you get a 3-wave corrective structure. Find support maybe above these highs, okay, and then you create the next leg to the upside. So this is what I am waiting for, guys. I am waiting for this before I add anything to my swing positions, because I realized that most of them are still busy with their third waves. They could still create the 4 and the 5, and then that bigger corrective structure, this is where I'm waiting to load up. Okay. Right. XRP, I know you all love XRP. AVAX. Let's see what is cooking here on AVAX. AVAX, guys, looks really great. Oof. Really, really good. I mean, just want to see from a lock perspective. I mean, what a beautiful bullish bounce from the lows to the highs. What a beautiful bounce, guys. I mean, you talk about altcoins that took a beating. AVAX like really held its ground over here. Did not even tap the 786. Okay. 3-wave corrective structure, and now it looks like it wants to continue momentum to the upside. So, I mean, this is, you know, guys, from a spot perspective, you need to decide, like I've just shown you on the other altcoins. Go and check out the risk to reward. But I mean, if I can show you guys here on the on the regular scale, okay, this is where I plan to take profits on AVAX. $100. Let's just call it a round number. $100. You might call me crazy. I don't care, because I do like to smoke my socks before I start live streams. But this is where I plan to take profits on AVAX. Okay, so from a spot perspective, I would say it still looks pretty darn good. Okay. Right, so this is, guys, specifically for those of you that feel that you've missed the boat, but just realize that you could be underwater. If you're FOMOing into investments right now from a spot perspective, you need to make peace with the fact that you could be underwater for the next couple of weeks, especially if Bitcoin dominance gets a little bit of a bounce over here. Okay, but then you also run the risk of what if it just runs away and you're like, shit, I should have bought when Dewald was highlighting these altcoins, and now it's up another 50%, and then it's up another 20%, and then, you know, eventually when you make your decision, you buy over here, and then the risk to reward doesn't make any sense anymore. Okay. I'm not a financial advisor, disclaimer. Okay, I'm just a crazy dude that smokes my socks before I do live streams. Okay. Right, Theta, I mean, guys, from a structural, larger time frame structural perspective, I did not plan to hold a swing trade in Theta, but when I played the break, this is all I wanted to do on Theta. All I wanted to do is play the breakout. Okay, there's my entry. That's all I wanted to do, and I want to take profits when we hit these highs. But then when I saw dominance absolutely collapsing and some of the altcoins exploding, and there's this big potential for the altcoin season, I think my entry is so good, I'm just going to hold on to it. So Theta now became a potential trade that I am just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go to the upside. Right, but I will definitely take some profits when we hit these highs. That's where I plan to take profits on Theta. I think Theta is still running on BTCC, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 10x position on Theta, up, okay, 360%, $2,600. Not a big position, but I mean, money's money at the end of the day. Right, what else? Theta, we've got AR, looks great, broken trend. Okay, what can I say? The bullish structure is still intact by a hair. By a hair, the bullish structure is still intact. I cannot believe how AR scared the crap out of me when it almost took the low and invalidated the bullish structure. And it actually found support at the 0.8. Can you guys see there? That's where AR found support. Okay, so there's still very much intact that this is your wave 1. This is your 2, and now it's creating the third wave here to the upside. Almost took the lows, but in Elliott wave theory, what it states is when you tap the 0.88, it increases the probabilities of taking the low, but it does not invalidate a second wave. The only time you invalidate a second wave is if price actually takes the low. So it's still a valid wave 2. So you could still expect this little leg here to the upside on AR. From a risk to reward perspective, AR looks really great. Okay. What can I say? It looks... What did I do? Let's do this. Okay, so TP zones for AR, for those of you that are in that trade. I know Jack, if you are here. Yeah, Jack, you are here. If you are in this trade, you know, okay, TP zone is, right, 618, always TP zone, guys. Grab my pen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can it go higher? Always. These are, guys, if things get really crazy, I don't know how crazy this altcoin season is going to get. What I can tell you is if things get really crazy and retail cards starts flooding back into the market and FOMO starts kicking in, Bitcoin starts going beyond $150,000. I'm talking about if things start getting really crazy. These targets can extend much, much higher. But I want winning trades, okay? I will most likely take all of my initial position out and take some profits, and I will leave some moon bags to ride to the upside. And if I spot weakness, I will then exit those bags. But I can tell you guys now, I'm not going to make the same mistake that I made during the previous bull cycle where I didn't take enough profits. Because during the previous bull cycle, I didn't know Elliott wave theory. I studied it during the bear market up until where we, today. I studied Elliott wave theory. If I knew Elliott wave theory, I would have taken more profits during the previous bull cycle. Okay, right. Next up, let me go through some comments before I just run through all of the altcoins over here. Okay, let me go through some comments. ARB. Let's go look at ARB. ARB is Arbitrum, if I'm not mistaken. Still waiting for proper impulse 1. Dewald, do you think on Mantra could come back? Is it worth a small amount? Speculate. Okay, I will go through some more altcoins now, guys. I mean, guys, from a structural perspective, like I said, I always put in the disclaimer and say that a rising tide is going to raise all ships. From a structural perspective, I do not like this. Lower lows, lower highs. Okay. Can it do this? Of course. From a structural perspective, this is not an investment that I will entertain. It doesn't fit my technical requirements. Can it do this? Yes, because the rising tide is going to raise all ships. Okay, but I don't like lower lows and lower highs. I don't like it. Okay, this could be the start. You have created a ever so slightly higher low over here. And now what would be important for me, okay, if I was interested in ARB, is you have a deviation below the lows over here. You can see this is clear resistance. Okay, you have clear resistance and you have a high over here. It needs to break the high, so you have a higher high, and then wait for the pullback, so you have a higher low. It's starting to change market structure. Now that, to me, becomes interesting. You play the breakout to the upside. So that is where I will wait for confirmation, because the structure is still bearish. The structure is not bullish yet. Okay, I would rather wait for the higher high and the higher low. You need to start changing market structure. So I would rather play this from a confirmation perspective than speculating it's just going to do this. It needs to change market structure first. Okay. Shout out to you, Dewald, for keeping transparency. Absolute pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. Dewald, Ton is looking good. Is Ton looking good? Okay, let's go. I want to see, guys. I put a new feature where the comments are supposed to go. Oh, yeah, it works. It works. Right, that's absolutely amazing. So at least now, if I forget to take the comments off the screen, they go away by themselves. Right, let's go look at Ton here quickly. USDT. Doom. Where's Ton? Here we go. Here we go. Mr. Ton. Is there maybe another chart for Ton? This is the daily time frame, right? I think this is where it started, guys, if I'm not mistaken. You do have a higher low. Just want to see, yeah. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. So this could definitely be an impulsive structure. Okay, multiple 1 2s, multiple 4 5s, and then you had a larger corrective structure. Okay, I just want to see how did this start. So flip from the low to the high, did not tap the 0.88. So yes, I agree, Elizabeth, it does look like it could rock and roll here to the upside. Okay, so trend, guys, simple technical analysis, wait for the break of trend, which is doing at the moment. If it can close at least 12-hour daily candles above the trend, that will be your bullish trigger. So basically just applying the D-line strategy. If it can close some high time frame candles above, okay, because most altcoins, guys, they break out and they chop sideways. First, most of them, they break out, they chop sideways, and as the longer price chops out sideways above the trend, the more bullish that becomes. It's a confirmation. Okay, that's where you build your position, and then you get your little pop to the upside to go and create a higher high, because this structure also, it needs to create a higher high. Okay, because it's coming from an aggressive downtrend. You still have that. Okay, so this high needs to be claimed to change market structure. It needs to change market structure, create a higher low, and continue. Right, but for now, it looks, Elizabeth, it looks like it's maybe one that is ready. It looks like it's one that could be ready. I just want to see on the 4-hour time frame. Do we have any high time frame candle closes above? My minimum high time frame candle is the 4-hour. So let's go check it out. Ooh, yeah, it looks like this could be the zone, right? This looks like it could be the zone. So I did ask you guys, do you see anything that looks right or ready to enter right now? Well, there's potentially one here on TON. Okay, let's go. Phala, Mr. Jack, let's go look at Phala Network, PHAUSDT. Let's go check it out. I like it. I was waiting for that. I think I spoke about Phala in my previous live stream, guys. You were hitting major resistance. Okay, Phala Network was hitting major resistance over here during my previous live stream. It is the point of control of the entire range. It is major resistance, and it now popped out, and it looks like it already flipped it into support. So if I go back here onto the 8-hour, now this is a bullish sign. Okay, I like it. You already did the RS flip. Can you see? Okay, you popped out with a high amount of volume. You came back for a retest, and it could potentially now continue, break the trend and continue to the upside. So this looks good. It hasn't even broken trend yet, so pay attention. I mean, that was a beautiful load up zone, by the way. Okay, RS flip. You flipped resistance now into support, and it now needs to stay above. You don't want price to get acceptance back below. Retest it as resistance, because then you're going to come and eat up the low. So if you have, tip of the trade, guys, if you have a position that you've built over here because of the retest, and your stop loss is below the low, and you see price gaining acceptance back below these lows, okay, breaks down, you wait for the retest. When it comes back for the retest, that is where you exit your position, because this is not a good sign. Okay, it's fine if it chops, but it doesn't get acceptance back below. Okay, and then it breaks out. Right, but Phala Networks, oof, you guys, I must rather ask you people, please show me some altcoins that are still ready to buy into, because Phala Network looks great. Okay, Pyth. I think I looked at Pyth on my last live stream, if I'm not mistaken. What have we got? Pyth, there we go. Oh, what a bad structure, guys. Yes. Ooh. Okay, guys, disclaimer once again, if we get a proper altcoin season, it could do this, okay? But I have to take the structure into consideration. High, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower lows. It's still making lower lows. Okay? You have to wait for market structure to change because it can continue to make lower low. The momentum is down. The trend is down and you're trading against the trend. That's basically what it boils down to. So Pyth does not look good. Okay. Can it pump? Of course, but I would rather wait for a change in market structure. Pyth needs to take the high. It needs to take the high and the retest, flip the area back into support. You play your break. I would rather wait for confirmation. You want a higher high and you want a higher low. You play the breakout. It's not, look at this, guys. It's just rolling down. It's rolling down. Okay. Not a good market. And you formed a lower low. It's not good. This is not good because it could create another lower high and make another. You haven't changed market structure yet. So don't like Pyth. Not interested in buying anything inside of Pyth unless you are day trading it and maybe you played the breakout. Okay, but then your position should be protected because when you're trading against the trend, you need to be very defensive. Okay, what else? Greetings, Dewald. So read this. Hopefully Bitcoin had made 3 waves on range on BTC, which according to triple deviation theory can be deviated soon. Also, AML nothing. Yo, lots of comments here from you. Greetings, Dewald. So read this. Hopefully Bitcoin had made 3 waves on range on BTC, which according to, okay, I'm not sure what you are referring to. It would be great, guys, if you know, I'm a picture person. A picture speaks 1,000 words. What I do recommend is that if you want to show me what you mean on your charts, okay, go into our free Discord. Okay, link is down in the description to sign up and come and share your charts here like the Big Shot did over here, showing me the impulsive structure inside of ICP. Then I can go and discuss it with everyone over here. So if you want to write things that are complicated to put into words, and I don't know which time frame you are looking at, is it the daily, is it the weekly, is it the 15-minute, is it the local structure, is it the macro structure, go and post me your chart and I will look at it. Don't feel embarrassed. We're all here to learn together. Okay. Right, link for the community is down here in the description to go and sign up. Join the free Discord. You don't have to pay. You can join the free Discord, and then when I do these live streams, you can say, hey, Dewald, I just posted a chart for you inside of the basic chat, and I will go and check it out. Okay. Right, legends, and always, you know, the best deals for these exchanges are down in the description. Bluffin, 20% more money. BTCC up to $10,000 sign-up bonus weeks, 25% discount on your trading fees. You also get upgraded to VIP status 1. Okay, right. Pyth must go. Pyth itself somewhere else. It looks. Sorry, I wish I could give you good news, but I base my technical analysis on structures. Okay, and maybe you agree or don't agree. I don't care, but the market structure is still down. Okay, it needs to change market structure. You need to form a higher high. You need to form a higher low. Then I'm going to say, okay, it is rolling around. At the moment, it looks like shit. Right, what else? Dewald, please, ILV. I actually forgot about ILV. I used to have a spot pack in ILV. ILV gaming token. I'm actually very curious to see what happened to ILV. Oh my word, what happened? Wow. I really thought it was going to hold this support based on my previous analysis. And this was done very long time ago. I mean, this analysis, guys, was done in November 2024. But ILV... Okay, so let me try and stay positive over here. When a token hits the floor, okay, it falls and it stops and it starts consolidating. And you have these little bounces in between. This is usually a great accumulation zone. So good news is It's fine. It looks like it's finding a floor. Okay, it's stopped and now it's consolidating. But I'm going to tell you the exact same thing that I've just done for Pyth. It needs to claim the high. It needs to break market structure, and you want to form a higher low. That is your clue that things could be reversing back to the upside. It is still rolling down. It's still making lower lows. Okay, so ILV does not look great. I must be honest. Does not look great, okay? Yes, I mean, you're breaking the trend, but you're making new lows. Not good, okay? You're breaking the trend, but you're making new lows, which means that your trend is not valid. It's an invalid trend, because once price breaks a trend, okay, it's not allowed to claim that low. If price does claim the low, it means that you need to adjust your trend to the new high that it's going to create. So the trend is not finished forming. This is not a breakout, guys. This is a false breakout. Okay, but I didn't expect ILV to look so bad. Anyways, okay, it needs to claim the high. It needs to claim the high, make a higher low, and you know. But I can tell you now, there are way better tokens to play from an altcoin perspective. There are thousands and thousands of altcoins. If something looks bad, like ILV and Pyth, just choose something else, guys. Fetch, I told you, during the beginning of the live stream, I've showed you ones that looks really great. Fala Network, Fetch, still looks like great. AVAX, still looks great from a risk to reward perspective. There are way better tokens to stick your fingers into this cookie jar than fucking what's happening over here. Like, oof, sorry for swearing, but this looks bad. Okay, I don't like it. I really don't like it. It has formed a base, which is great, but now it needs to show you sign of strength. And it hasn't shown a sign of strength just as yet. Right. Umbrella. Guys, I have a funny story about Umbrella. Okay. And I do want to put a disclaimer out there. I will not tell anyone to buy Umbrella. Okay, but I'm going to tell you what I did. Right? On a high, guys, something that I just need to explain to you is when you have a very high risk, low cap market token, whatever you are looking at, often technical analysis like Elliott wave theory does not apply to those tokens because they are just too volatile. There's too little money and they get too manipulated, and you can't apply Elliott wave theory to them. Okay? Those little high risk tokens becomes lotto tickets. That is where you deploy very little cash. It's a lotto ticket. You're prepared to lose the money. You've written it off in your mind. Maybe you wanted to go and buy a bottle of wine and you decided to take the wine money and just go and gamble on one of these tokens. It's gambling. So that's my disclaimer over here with Umbrella. Okay, but let me show you what I've done. And it's most probably going to play out because I've done this. Okay, let's look at the log scale here on Umbrella. Okay, and now you guys will see. I gave Umbrella a cookie. Do you see the cookie? And it's a 300x cookie. So it's going to come and eat it. It's definitely going to come and eat that cookie. Okay. I have gambled on Umbrella. My entry used to be a little bit higher. I can't remember exactly where my entry was, but I bought maybe with this breakout, I can't remember exactly, but I was just underwater, and every week now and again, I will go in and I will buy $100 and it will drag my entry down, and I'll buy $100 and it will drag my entry down. So I have added to the position to try and drag my entry down with money that I'm prepared to lose. It's less than 0.01% of my portfolio. This is a gamble, guys. It's high risk, high reward, but you must be prepared to lose this money if it goes against you. Okay, but I've given it a little cookie, and let's see if it helps, because the last time I gave Bitcoin a cookie, we went into all-time high. So this cookie is reserved only for the tokens, okay, that I think is hungry. Right, but if you are inside of Umbrella, you guys can see now I'm basically at break even. Okay, this is where my entry is. Price is basically at my break even price. I'm not going to cash out. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. TP1, TP2, I will leave a moonback open for higher levels, but this is where I plan to exit my positions, or most of it. Okay. So from a technical perspective, market structure looks absolutely shit. Okay, but the good sign, one good sign about Umbrella that I'm not seeing on Pyth and Illuvium is that Umbrella has now made a higher high locally, so it's starting to change market structure. Okay, it has made a higher high. So if Umbrella gets a pullback, you want to see a higher low. So there's your first sign. Okay, now that looks great. Can it, you can still pump over here, it doesn't really matter, but you want to see market structure change, which it has done here at the moment. So yeah, I bought a little bit of Umbrella. Well, I have a position in Umbrella, very small, high risk. Okay, someone also asked me in the comment section today, Dewald, is there any token that you will recommend from an extreme high risk perspective that you have not spoken about? Moon River is one that I'm looking at. I do have a position in Moon River on spot. Okay, there's my entry. I think Moon River is 450 or 476 from a market cap perspective. And there's my entry on Moon River. So if you want to gamble with high risk tokens and you want to deploy very little cash, these are some of the ones that you need to keep an eye on. Guys, I just need to check something over here. Guys, I need to check something. 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I think I've got a meeting now. I just want to make sure. Take this out the way. Sorry, guys. I actually need to check if I have a meeting now. I mean, I might have to call, end this live stream. Not yet. Not yet. Okay, not yet. Guys, I can still stay here for a little bit longer. There we go. Right. There we go. Thank goodness. Okay. What else? What else? Did buy there manage to drag my entry? Okay, cool. Brett, please. Enna, please. Wait. Dewald, why no one posted your live stream from YouTube section on Discord? Is it not on Discord? It should be on Discord. Sometimes it just takes a while to come through. Ooh, okay. Maybe the system's broken. I will go check it out after the live stream. Not sure why I didn't post yet, but Matt is there, Andy's there. Right, I will go check it out. But guys, let's just quickly wrap it up. Someone asked me, Dewald, do you have a high risk token that's not in the top 100 that you are speculating on a nice little pump if we do get a crazy altcoin season? And yes, Moon River. It's still for me in buy zone from a risk to reward perspective. But spot, guys, spot. There's no leverage on this. Okay, spot. It has broken trend. Okay. This is where I got my entry. I actually prayed another trend breakout over here, but it looks like it wants to rock and roll. There's some green volume starting to kick in, but I mean if this thing starts lifting off here, okay, yeah, you're looking at 184%, 5.3 to 5x. Can it go higher? I mean, it's high risk, guys. It takes no money to send these things flying. No money at all, okay? And this is why some of these altcoins can pop like crazy to the upside, especially from a high risk perspective, is because it almost takes no money to move them. So it's very normal to get a pump that just gives you 6,000, 10,000, 5,000% to the upside because it takes no money to move them because the market caps are so small. Right, what is Bitcoin doing? Just wanted to check that out. Let's go through some more comments. Anyone want a Dewald coin on ETH? CRV. Yeah, CRV. I did check CRV during this week sometimes. I saw it had a nice little pump. Where is CRV? Here we go. Yeah, wow. Okay, there's nothing to discuss there, guys. But look at this. This is where I teach people the importance of market structure change. Okay, CRV was in this bullish pennant, okay, and I said it needs to claim the high, which it did, but now you're changing market structure, higher high, higher low compared to this low. Can you guys see how important it is to wait for market structure to change? Because it was creating lower highs. You need to see this, and then this becomes your buying opportunity. Okay, and there's a chance it's gonna fly now because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the upside. But I mean, this is not a buy zone at the moment. It's just pumped way too hard. Coty. Let's go and check out Coty. Coty. USDT. Do I have to do that again? Because it showed me I do have it here, right? Up 3% today. Let's see. Coty is breaking out. Let's just keep it simple. Coty is breaking out from a risk to reward perspective. It makes sense. You know, guys, these are the breakouts that I like. I really like these breakouts, okay? Where you have a low and price is consolidating outside of the trend. I really like these breakouts. Obviously, if it takes the low, you need to adjust your trend, like I showed you on ILV or something else. Okay, but for now, this looks great. I like price to consolidate outside of the trend because this little consolidation is where you build your position. Guys, you have to acknowledge that this is a high time frame breakout. Okay, and it's gonna take time, but when it starts accelerating, okay, it's gonna fly, right? So yes, Coty looks great. It's from a risk to reward perspective, it still makes sense. Even if you buy at the current price, stop goes below the low, 6.8. I mean, beautiful risk to reward. Okay, it means that you are going to make way more than what you are going to potentially lose. Do not go in with your entire portfolio with all of your life savings because that is stupid. Okay, this is just a portion. It should be a portion of your investment, but it looks great. Okay, so thanks for highlighting Coty. I'm definitely going to give Coty here. Now guys, I'm really not interested in buying anything else because I want to be able to manage my portfolio properly, but I'm just going to flag it there in red and check it out later and maybe decide if I want to put like $500 or $1,000 in there. I'm not really in the mood to buy anything else because I did say I want to keep my altcoin portfolio tight and small because the FOMO starts kicking in, guys. You know, you see these little breakouts, and before you know it, once you have a breakout and a breakout and a breakout, before you know it, you have 50 altcoins in your portfolio, and then you can't manage them, and then you make a boatload of cash to the upside, and before you know it, we hit the bear market, and you are back at square one because you couldn't manage your portfolio properly. So I don't want to make that mistake. So I do acknowledge the breakout. It looks great. But I'm happy with what I have in my portfolio at the moment. But if I didn't, well, this is something that I would strongly consider, especially from a market cap perspective as well. I think it has a low market cap. Not sure if it's part of the 100, maybe in the 200 range. I don't know. Okay. Right, legends, I see people are leaving the live stream for some reason, and I know you all have still a lot of altcoin requests. Unfortunately, I have run out of time. Remember to smash up that like button. Don't forget about the amazing deals that these exchanges has to offer. If you want to maximize your swing trades, if you want low trading fees, if you want big sign-up bonuses, money gets airdropped into your account, Bluffin, BTCC, Weeks, Femix, you take your pick. Any one of these, all you need is an email and a password to sign up. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. Take a break from the chart, okay? Reset your mind, your brain. And until the next one, cheers for now.